You woke up this morning already behind, not just on time, on life. The weight of yesterday sits heavy on your chest. The promises you broke to yourself, the people who let you down, the dreams you buried before they even had a chance to speak. And somewhere between brushing your teeth and scrolling through other people's wins, it hits you. You're not living, you're waiting for something to change, for someone to save you, for a miracle. But here's the brutal truth. No one is coming. No one owes you anything. No one can rescue you from a prison you built with your own excuses. Feeling sorry for yourself is a trap, disguised as comfort. It makes you the victim in every story. It tells you it's okay to give up because life has been unfair. It pats you on the back for staying in bed and whispers that the world should feel bad for you. And you listen because pain is easier to sit in than change. But there's a difference between feeling pain and feeding it. Everyone gets knocked down. Everyone has a story full of betrayal, loss, and failure. But not everyone makes it their identity. You're not broken. You're waiting for permission to heal. And the world won't give it to you. Because life doesn't stop spinning just because you're dizzy. It won't pause for you to catch your breath. The bills won't stop. The competition won't wait. The clock won't freeze. But you can. You can stop feeling sorry for yourself right here, right now. You can look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm done pretending I'm powerless. Because every second you spend blaming the world is a second you lose control over your life. You don't need more time, you need more truth. The truth is, you've been talking to yourself like you hate yourself. You've been apologizing for being tired instead of asking why. You've been calling it laziness when really it's burnout or fear or perfectionism. You've labeled yourself weak because it's easier than admitting you're afraid to fail at full strength. But here's the shift. Stop waiting to feel ready. Motivation isn't what gets you started, action is. You don't need a grand plan. You need a small, stubborn decision. I refuse to stay here. People will tell you to take it easy, to forgive yourself, to be kind, and they're not wrong. But there's another kind of kindness, the kind that kicks you in the spine and says move, the kind that doesn't coddle your comfort zone, the kind that loves you enough to demand more. You don't climb out of the pit by admiring the walls, you claw your way out, dirty, bleeding, humiliated, and alive. And here's what they won't tell you. There's no applause for your first step, no cheering squad when you finally say enough. You'll do it alone, in silence, with shaking hands, and no map. That's how warriors are made. That's how transformation begins. Self-pity is a luxury disguised as pain. It gives you the illusion of struggle without the growth. It's dramatic. It's addictive. It tells you your pain is special. Your story, too complicated. Your situation, beyond repair. But ask yourself this, what if it's not? What if it's fixable and you're just afraid of what that would require? Because if it's fixable, then the weight shifts back to you. Then it's your move, and that's terrifying. It's easier to stay broken, to stay angry, to say, they did this to me, because then you never have to do the hard thing. Take responsibility, but real freedom begins when you stop saying, why me? And start asking, what now? No one feels ready. No one feels healed before they start moving. You earn clarity by stepping into the unknown. You build strength by lifting what scares you. You become unstoppable the moment you stop feeling sorry for being behind. Let go of the story you've been telling yourself, the one that begins with I can't and ends with because life isn't fair. Rewrite it, not because you're delusional, but because you're done living in defeat. And don't confuse this for toxic positivity. This isn't about pretending things are fine. It's about staring at the wreckage of your life and saying, I'm still here. It's about owning every scar and saying, I didn't die, so I might as well live. So get up. Brush your teeth like it's war paint. Eat like your body matters. Walk like your legs still remember purpose. Breathe like the air wasn't wasted on you. You don't need a rescue. You need a return to the you that existed before the world convinced you you're nothing. A return to the fight. A return to hunger. A return to the truth. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failure. You are the decision you make next. And if that decision is to stop feeling sorry for yourself, then congratulations. Your comeback just started. You think you're the only one hurting, the only one tired, the only one who's tried everything and still wakes up feeling like a failure. But look closer. Everyone you admire, every name you drop when you talk about success, they've walked through fire. The difference? They didn't make a home in it. They didn't decorate their pain and call it destiny. They didn't wait for the universe to hand them a different childhood, a better break, or an easier path. They bled, they broke, but they didn't break down. They broke open. Because there comes a moment in every story when the hero has to decide, do I let this moment define me or refine me? You're standing at that edge now, and no, you don't have wings, but you do have a choice. You can either keep reciting your struggle like scripture, turning your wounds into excuses, or you can turn them into weapons, not to hurt others, but to carve a path out of hell. Self-pity is seductive. It lets you feel like the victim and the hero. Look how much I've suffered, it says. I must be special. But special doesn't build anything. Suffering isn't a badge, it's a starting point. There's a kind of pain that buries you, and there's a kind that builds you, but you don't get to choose which one until you stop sulking long enough to stand up. You keep looking for signs, waiting for a door to open. But maybe the door is you. Maybe you're not locked out of life. You're locked in by your own doubt, your own story, your own refusal to let go of who you were 5 failures ago. Listen closely, because this matters. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you're pouring your energy into mourning the life you could have had, that imaginary version of you that didn't mess up, that didn't get rejected, that didn't fall apart, but that version never existed, and mourning it won't bring it back. What you do have is now, this breath, this moment, and this insane opportunity to rewrite everything. But you can't do that while you're still weeping over who didn't believe in you, over what they said, over what didn't happen, over how long it's taken. Time doesn't owe you anything. Neither does success. Neither does the world. You think the world should reward you for surviving? It won't. It only rewards those who build after surviving, the ones who crawl out of rock bottom and start swinging, the ones who are so done waiting that they move with bloody hands and a cracked voice. That's how you win. Not by looking strong, but by being too stubborn to stay broken. You need to get angry, not at the world, but at the part of you that keeps settling, the part of you that clings to old labels like their identity, the part that says, this is just who I am. No, that's who you were when you gave up, who you were when you stopped trying, who you were before you realized pain can be fuel if you stop sipping it like wine and start burning it like gasoline. Don't numb it, use it. Use the disappointment, the heartbreak, the failure. Use the silence from people who should have shown up. Use the rejection letters, the overdraft fees, the panic at 2 a.m. Let it become your reason, not your ruin. Because the truth is, comfort didn't create any of the people you look up to. They were made in the dark, in the silence, in the nobody believes in me phase, in the I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway, chaos, and that's where you are, which means you're exactly where greatness begins. But here's the catch, there are no guarantees. Effort, just the decision to try again when it makes no logical sense to. And that's what separates those who get out from those who stay stuck, not talent. Not resources, not luck, just decision, repeated, ruthlessly. Every morning you wake up and decide, no, I'm not that story anymore. Every hour you remind yourself, no, I won't shrink to make others comfortable. Every night you whisper, I may be scared, but I'm still showing up. That's it. That's the blueprint. Boring, brutal, unstoppable. And don't worry if no one sees you right now. Silence is sacred. Being invisible is a gift. It means you can build without pressure, heal without eyes watching, rise without applause. This is your training ground, your origin story. One day you'll look back at this season and thank it, not because it was kind, but because it was necessary. Necessary to shake you out of numbness, necessary to strip away your illusions, necessary to force you to choose. Do I stay here or do I rise? So stop begging the world to understand your pain. Understand it yourself, then turn it into power. The comeback doesn't require permission, just decision, just movement, just the guts to say, I've had enough. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs someone who's been through hell and came back carrying fire. That someone could be you. There will be days when your mind screams louder than your purpose, when the only thing heavier than your body is your belief in yourself. When you look at your reflection and all you see is someone who almost made it, almost healed, almost tried, almost changed. But the difference between almost and unstoppable is one choice, not to stop, because the truth is the world breaks everyone. It's not personal, it's universal. But some people, they use the pieces to build a new self, and others, they keep staring at the fragments, hoping they'll magically reassemble. So let's end the fantasy right here. Your life will not fix itself. The wounds will not vanish. The pain won't retire. But your relationship with all of it, that can change in a heartbeat. The heartbeat that says, enough, you don't have time to coddle your despair anymore. That feeling sorry for yourself routine, it's stealing years from you. It's robbing you of the you who could have existed if you just decided to fight one more time. Look at the people who inspire you. Do you think they felt ready? Do you think they waited until they were confident, healed, or surrounded by approval? No, they just got sick of the alternative. They got sick of being ruled by fear, sick of waking up haunted by untapped potential, sick of being the only one in their own way. And so they moved, scared, scarred, unqualified, and they moved anyway. That's the move you're being asked to make, not because it's easy, not because you feel brave, but because you're finally tired of letting pain be your landlord. Evict it. Evict the story that says you're too far gone. Evict the lie that your best days are behind you. Evict the idea that you missed your shot. You didn't miss it. You just never took it. And now you're standing at a crossroads, staring at the one enemy that's been winning this whole time, the voice in your head, that voice that says, why even try? That voice that says they're better. That voice that says you're a mess. Who would care? But that voice is not truth. It's a loop, a broken record of insecurity you didn't choose, but one you've been dancing to for years. And you can stop the music. You can rip the record out and break it in half, because you're not required to think those thoughts. You're allowed to interrupt them. You're allowed to rebuild. And let's be real, rebuilding is ugly. It's slow. It's lonely. There are no clean lines, no tidy metaphors, just raw decisions made in private, just moments where no one claps, but you still rise anyway. You wake up and go again. You write the email. You make the call. You train. You cry. You fail. You try again, and you do it because there is no other way forward but through, because there's no finish line worth crossing that doesn't demand everything you've got. So give it. Give the world the version of you that fights, that doesn't just dream, but delivers, that doesn't just hope, but acts, that doesn't just survive, but burns. Burns with clarity, burns with rage, burns with purpose, burns with the knowledge that this is your time, not because it's perfect, but because it's finally yours. And here's the secret no one tells you. Feeling sorry for yourself doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. It means you're human, but you're not here to live there. You're here to use it. Pain is not the enemy. Avoiding it is, because every tear you've cried was real. Every setback felt personal. Every heartbreak took something from you, but you're still breathing, still standing, still capable of burning 10 times brighter than the people who never had to fight for their light. And that makes you dangerous. Not the kind of dangerous that destroys, but the kind that can't be stopped. So if you want to know where it all changes, it's not in some grand speech or epic moment. It's in this sentence, this silence, this breath, where you decide that the next chapter doesn't carry the shame of the last one, where you decide that broken is just a phase, not a label, where you decide that starting over doesn't mean you failed. It means you learned. You've carried your sadness long enough, carried your self-hate, your regrets, your stories of not enough, but none of them define you, not anymore. You are what you do next, so write it, say it, become it, show up like your future depends on it, because it does. And when they ask how you did it, tell them the truth. I stopped feeling sorry for myself, and I started fighting like my life was mine again.